What is up, everybody? We're back with another YouTube video. Unfortunately, we will not be cutting any beans here soon. The moisture's too high on them. The leaves aren't falling off like they should. But we did get a frost last night. It's currently 48 degrees with a 15 to 20 mile an hour wind. So that's why I'm bundled up like an Eskimo. Today's project, we are going to be replacing these slip clutches, whatever you want to call them, whatever Cyclone calls them. I've got two of them to do, one there and one over here. Let's get that done and we will move on to the next project. So this is what we're going to be replacing. It's got rubber in the middle and two steel plates on each side, or one steel plate on each side. It goes between. So you got recessed holes here, here, and here. And then on the back side, it's the opposite. The ones that aren't recessed are recessed on the opposite side. I don't know if you could follow me on that, but that's so that both of these shafts can be connected offset, so in the event that this does shear, the bolt heads will not interfere with each other. So let me get this in here. That's just my gate alarm, like so. And then I'm gonna line up some of these bolt holes, and we'll take one of our bolts here and feed it through the hole. So just like that, I fed my bolt through. Now I'm gonna take and put the lock nut and then the regular bolt through here. I'm gonna just go ahead and do that to all three bolts on this side of the shaft. And then we'll switch to the other side. I don't know how well y'all can see that, but doing the best I can. And I did have to time the blades, but it's not like timing the blades on any other thing I've ever timed them on. Instead of the blades being offset in an H pattern, these are all in line. So that's quite interesting, but I guess that's why it works the way it does. So all three of the bolts on that shaft are done. I'm gonna go ahead and tighten them up with my 3/8 hex head and a 3/4 inch wrench. I'll probably just speed this up, to be honest with y'all. I don't want to rotate this while I'm tightening these, because if I do, then I could potentially take it back out of time. Which, if I did take it out of time, it wouldn't be too big of a deal. All I'd have to do is crawl back, well, not crawl, but lean over and look under the mower. It's really nice design. I like this versus the John Deere stock mowers, just a shear bolt, which they're a little more cost effective that way, but I see less failure in these so far. For 2 years we've ran it. But I mean, I guess everything you're gonna have really gonna have a failure point. So all three of those are tight now. I'm gonna move on to the other side. Okay, that one's in. It's probably all just gonna be sped up, if I'm being honest. I don't even know if y'all can see what the heck I'm doing. So I'll get those tightened up and we'll move on to the next side. Alright, I got this side back together. Now I'm gonna go on and move to this thicker side over here. Get it put back together, and then I'll put all three of the shields back on and we'll get this thing out of here. Get this tractor dulled up, because I've got to pull the disc with it. The 8430's down right now. I think I got to put a rear main seal in that tractor, and then we got to do some computer work on it and see if we got a failing injector. So there's a lot to do. We're finishing up this slip clutch here. We got Grayson actually doing some work. We got Remy supervising. We got a little tail wagging. And we got Trevor. So that's the last one. All the blades are timed. And we're gonna put these covers on it and get it unhooked and get it ready to put the duals on. Why don't you get a shot of the cameraman? The cameraman never dies. I believe that might be cross-threaded. The Cyclone's all back together now. Got the shop doors open, move it out the way. Grayson's gonna move to 8130. We ran the disc since you last saw it, and we had a boo-boo. There was a rock out in the field, which is very uncommon down here, and it caught the end blade and broke the axle off. I went and got a new axle this morning. Now we're going to put it back together, but there's a couple things I got to do, like this in here. The old axle end cap, that's what keeps the square shaft from turning when you tighten the blades. It's a little wore out, so I'm going to try to build it up with the welder and then grind it back square so it'll have something to hold against, and then we'll put it back together. I got this thing baited up now. It'll actually hold onto the square shaft. It don't have to look pretty, it's just got to work like I said earlier. I'm going to put this thing back together and get back into the field. It's back together now. We're gonna put it up under the disc here. My interesting welds held for anybody that was criticizing me. So that's good. We're gonna go ahead and position it there, drop the disc down, put the bolts in, fold it all up, and then he's ready to go back to the field. Alright, this thing's back together now. About to send him back to the field. We're going to go clean up the shop some. So later on in the day, tomorrow's Thanksgiving, so I'm going to go ahead and put this Christmas light display up. It's a giant Christmas tree. All I did was make it out of 2 round bell wrap rolls. I just took and cut them. I cut a notch out of both, and then I hose clamped them together, ran a drop cord through the center, and then taped some green Christmas lights to the top. I'm gonna go dig my hole back out, and then I just ran the drop cord to the bottom, and it goes into the hole and comes back out. And then I've got power ran out there at the sign So I'm gonna go dig that hole and stand this thing up and show y'all what it looks like. That's what the tree looks like set up. Well, the time to cut beans has officially came. We're going on December 3rd. These beans finally dried down after a frost. We can actually start cutting them. We're waiting on the combine right now. I just drove the hopper bottom here. It's the one that we just got. I had to do some work to the doors on it. But we're about to test it out and get this field of beans cut out. It's nothing but like 15 acres over here. And then we're gonna go to like 60. So we'll get a good test and see what it's worth. These beans aren't looking too promising. I don't know if it's focusing or not. Hold on. It's that's what 3 weeks of drought will do to a soybean. It's just gonna be a tough year. Everything we've had's had a tough growing season. So we'll see what they yield, but I don't have high hopes. We're going on our third, hold on, there we go. We're going on our third day cutting soybeans. I did not get the chance to record yesterday because I was driving the big truck most of the day. I'm actually close to finishing up tonight. There's a lot of land I don't have to cover that was planted in soybeans, but just didn't make nothing. And it's not worth wasting the fuel to go and try to harvest inch tall beans. So we're gonna have to cut our losses. Like I said, it's just the drought and the excessive rain. It's just been a bad year. But as soon as I get done with this, I will be happy to put this year behind me. So I just figured I'd give y'all a little update. Well, that's an official end to the 2024 harvest. We are done with everything. It's been an absolute trying year, better words to say. I've just parked this thing up under the shed. I've gotten a cotton picker up under there. Next warm day we're gonna go and blow them all off with the compressor and wash them up real good, and they'll get parked for the rest of the year. We're cutting ditch baits today. It's like 2 days after the New Year's, like January 3rd. I just cranked 8300 up. It's like 30 degrees outside today, and it's still supposed to get colder. We're about to go crank up Dad's tractor. I've already checked the oil on it. See if she likes a cold start. Not very interesting, but we'll let these girls warm up for a little bit, and then we'll go cut some ditch baits. Actually, there's been a small change of plans. I'm gonna go dist a little bit until my little brother gets out of school, and my dad's gonna run the 8300 and cut some ditch baits. But this tractor is cold-natured, I know for a fact. Not as far as cranking, but it will not do anything until it's warmed up just slightly. No codes. Oh, we got a code today. CCU 23. And it's showing our coolant is maxed out, even though that's not even possible. So we'll let this tractor warm up and we'll grab this. Well, Grayson just got on it. I'm gonna let him run it, and I'm gonna mess with the ditch bank cutter. We're gonna go back to the shop and try to get y'all an update on the stuff I've been doing over there. So as I was trying to say before my battery died, the rear main seal was leaking on this tractor, and I pulled the dampener and the flywheel off. I had a broke bolt in the back of the crank. We got it out, welded a nut to it, but I got the new seal. I'm just waiting on the seal installer tool. Then I'll have this 8430 back together. And then we've completely rearranged the shop, cleared out a bunch of junk.
This is the big difference here. I've got containers now with parts and spare parts in them now. Like I've got tractor parts, seals, hydraulic cylinder seals, planter parts, and then combine parts, more planter parts over there. Built some shelves for the KMC stuff and rearranged all this over here. So I've been working at it. All right, I've got the rear main seal in, flywheel, the inertia ring, the dampener, and the coupler for the transmission all back in and torqued to spec. Now I'm going to do valve lash on this 8430. I've got my alignment pin. There's a hole that corresponds on your flywheel. You put your pin through, and then either you can take a pry bar, or I have a special flywheel tool on my ratchet where I can turn it, and then you turn it until you find the indentation on the back of the flywheel. That's how you know if you're on top dead center. Now we're going to take this valve cover off. I've got all the valve cover bolts broke loose. Let's take this cover off and I will show y'all what valve lash is. But let's get the cover off real quick and then I will be back. So these are your intake and exhaust valves, and over time as the engine wears you'll get some slack in these. That's all we're adjusting. So you got a little slack right there. That's all we're going to adjust today, because too much slack can cause inconsistencies in your exhaust temperature and engine temperature, so we want to keep those down. So I'm gonna go in here with a filler gauge and check each and every one of these and make sure they're within spec, and then we'll put it back together. Well, this is all buttoned back up. I gotta hook my breather tube up. I just did the final torque on the rocker box cover. I've got to put some shields back in on spot on right there, and then grease the tractor, and it'll probably go to the disc harrow. That one, I don't know what's up with that. It's being cold weather natured. It's not giving us throttle response, engine coolant temp, or engine oil pressure when it's below 30 degrees outside. So that's kind of an issue, and everybody's pointing to the ECU, but I'm fairly certain it's not the ECU, because there's several of those tractors across the country doing the same thing, and 2 of them put ECUs on, and that only fixed their problem for 2 days. So we're not going to shoot for an ECU right off. We're going to try to do a little bit more diagnosing on it. All right, I've got last set all bolted back together, did the rear main seal, put all the shielding back on, just hooked the hood up. We're going to see if the work is going to hold, or, well, I know it's going to hold. We're just going to see how it sounds now that I'm done. So far, yeah, I'm happy with that. Let's get this tractor out of here and test drive it around, get it hot, get it up to temp, and make sure we ain't got no leaks, and then we will hook it up to the disc harrow and it'll be out of the shop. It's out of the shop now. We're gonna run it down the road real quick, give it a quick test, get the engine up to temp, make sure I don't have any leaks. All that mess I've got to clean up in the shop in there, and then we'll see if Dad wants us to hook it up to the disc harrow. I'm not sure if that's what we're going to do today or not. That's it for this tractor, and that's probably it for this YouTube video, guys. I appreciate y'all watching. I just haven't had much to film, so that's why this one's taking so long to get out. But I appreciate the support, appreciate the engagement, the commenting, and the liking. And yeah, see you on the next one. Subscribe if you want to. Thank you.